and Richard Wood and Darragh Lenihan lead the two sets of players out right on cue here at the New York Stadium. Rotheram in their traditional red shirts with the white sleeves and white shorts, and Borough in their change kit to avoid the obvious colour clash of very dark blue with lighter blue trim. As far as Rotheram is concerned, it's very easy. Win this game and they are safe. And you have to bear in mind they've changed divisions in each of the last 6 seasons. They've been relegated in each of their last 3 seasons in the Championship. They were favourites for that streak to be extended, but they put up with managerial upheaval with Paul Warne's departure to Derby. If they can get over the line here with a victory, and even a draw will take them really close, it will be some achievement, one of the best that this excellent club has had in many years. As far as Middlesbrough are concerned, on the face of it, much less to play for. All they can do really, finesse their playoff position, and I don't think there's a huge advantage between them finishing 3rd or 4th. It's just a question of managing the workload for various players between now and when the first leg of that playoff semi-final takes place. Let me reiterate the two teams for you. Rotheram, Johansson in goal, Harding, Wood, Humphreys and Bramall, Lindsay, Dauphin and Rathbone, Obene, Hugill and Ferguson, the forward 3. The Rotheram bench, Fosu, Wiles and Kelly, Yelda, Kioso, Keena and Hemfrey. For Middlesbrough, Stephan in goal, Dykesdale, Howson, Lenihan and Bola, Balassa and Hackney, Jones, Akpom, McGree and Cameron Archer up front. And they have been in sparkling form, the Middlesbrough forwards. Cam Archer, 4 goals in his last 3 games, 6 goals and 4 assists in his last 7. For Akpom, who scored the winner on his last appearance here, the Championship top scorer with 28, including 21 goals in his last 18 home games. Not quite so hot away from home, but it's an extraordinary record that he'll be the first to admit is out of keeping with anything that he'd achieved up till now.
It is, yeah. I mean, yeah, you look at his career path. I remember seeing him as a young player coming through at Arsenal, always really talented, got on the verge of the first team but couldn't quite make it. And whenever he went out on loan, he played well but didn't score, or not enough goals. And that's been the story of his career until this point, until he got to work with Michael Carrick, when suddenly it clicked, and playing in this slightly withdrawn role just behind the main striker, almost as a number 10, he has thrived, making runs from deep, getting into the box to convert balls played across the 18-yard box. It's a phenomenal return, and as a double axe, I don't think you get much better at Championship level, not this season anyway, than Akpom and Archer.
Well, Cam Archer has been in sparkling form, and I think he'll be a first-team regular somewhere in the Premier League next season, whether it be at Villa or somewhere else. Before kick-off, the Rotheram players and the officials take the knee. It is the final home game of the season for the Millers. Win it, and they stay up. If they draw, they're effectively safe, and that safety would be confirmed if Huddersfield lost at Sheffield United on Thursday. And barring a massive win for Reading against Huddersfield on the last day, they would probably be okay with 1 more point somewhere along the line. We're underway. As we look at it, Rotheram are kicking from left to right. A little bit of conjecture about exactly how the Millers were going to play. They tend to play with the back 3 against sides that play with the back 3. Borough don't do that. Wes Harding at right back in a back 4 is something that some Millers fans have some reservations about, but that is the role that he's taking up today. It is a back 4 for Rotheram, who are on the front foot here and win the first corner of the game. Good play by the Irish international Obene down the left-hand touchline, driving it across, which is ricocheted off the nearest Borough defender. You talked about Johnny Howson playing at centre-half in the absence of McNair. Brilliant player, not the tallest. And I think Middlesbrough fans would tell you that if they have a deficiency, defending set pieces is one of them.
Definitely. Conceded 14 set piece goals in the Championship this season. Only 4 clubs have let in more from dead ball situations, and today they're not the biggest.
So in comes the corner. Nice high up in the air, flicked towards goal on the edge of the 6-yard box, but there's a foul. I tell you something, we talked about McNair. McNair is there. I've just been passed the note. Howson pulled out injured in the warm-up, so he's been replaced by McNair, who is in that starting lineup alongside Lenihan at centre-half, and Brian Belongo is added to the bench. So it is McNair alongside Lenihan at the heart of the Middlesbrough defence.
Well, look, it's how fit is he? Because if he was completely confident, Michael Carrick, in his fitness, he would have started Paddy McNair, wouldn't he, in that position? No doubt about that. He's someone that I think will feature in the playoff games. So, yeah, it's a risk that they're going to have to take now, Middlesbrough. But in terms of today and the here and now, if he is fit, it's a boost, because he's a proper centre half in comparison to Housen, who's a superb central midfielder.
Ball out of play for a Rotheram throw, which will be taken over on the far touchline. They come into this game with only one win in the last 9 games. That was here against West Brom. Going back further than that, only 4 out of 25. And yet, there's still a sense that they're on the verge of overachievement, such as their budget in relation to others. Here's Harding. Back to the heart of the midfield for Humphreys, and the former Manchester City man drives it forward. And it goes straight out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Middlesbrough right. On the far touchline from us, Dijkstale, the Dutchman, bringing it forward. Jones, who's come through non-league football in the London area to earn a pro contract with Middlesbrough, and has been very effective over the last couple of seasons, and he's just won a free kick here, which Middlesbrough have taken quickly and switched down towards the left-hand side for McGree. Back from him to Lenihan. Lenihan turning in the midfield, trying to get away from Hugill. The touch not the best, and then as they tried to remedy it, there was a challenge coming in on the Dolphin, but the referee, Keith Stroud, says it was no foul and plays allowed to continue.
Yeah, he's hurt himself there, hasn't he, a Dolphin, who is playing much further forward than we anticipated ahead of kick-off. He's playing almost as an advanced attacking midfielder at the moment. It'd be interesting to see if that continues, because he is more of a defensive player.
Middlesbrough in possession in their dark blue shirt, bringing it forward through the midfield with Hackney, who's had a wonderful season, his breakthrough season in Middlesbrough's first team. Just ran out of room there as he tried to lay the ball off under duress. It went over the line and out of play for a Rotheram throw, which they will take midway inside their own half. Middlesbrough had that fantastic run, 7 wins in 8. They've followed it up with just 3 wins in the last 8, but still very handily placed. Still don't know what their destiny is going to be. There are 5 teams at the moment that they could potentially be up against in the playoffs. In the semi-finals, they could meet Coventry or Millwall or Sunderland or West Brom or Blackburn. And they haven't actually got a winning record against any of those over the course of the season. Although some of that is before Michael Carrick's watch, admittedly. But that is an interesting statistic, and we'll look at it in more depth later as the ball is headed on by Harding towards the edge of the penalty area. Both sides just taking a little bit of time to settle. It's quite feisty, as you would imagine, with so much at stake. Lindsay doing well to turn the ball back to the back line and eventually work back for the Swedish goalkeeper Victor Johansson. He booms it upfield, and Dijkstale's going to be able to bring it away again for Middlesbrough in the right back position. He'll turn and go back for McNair. McNair, they call him back into the starting lineup, and maybe a few doubts about his full level of fitness, but he'll just bring the ball forward towards the edge of the centre circle. Still 0-0 here between Rotheram and Middlesbrough with 5 minutes on the clock on Talksport 2.
Yes, an unusual setup from Rotheram. I'll just hold off.
As Borough bring it forward, but the offside flag is up anyway.
Yeah, really, really unusual. It's Hugill up front, and you've got the wingers. You've got Ferguson wide left, you've got Ogbene wide right, and then you've got Odofin and Rathbone in support of Hugill. And what they decided to do, I think, is go and press Hayden Hackney, go and press Dan Barlaser, who they know very well in these parts, of course. And that leaves Jamie Lindsay as the sort of holding midfielder, kind of on his own at times. Bold approach this from Matt Taylor.
Ball headed on by Hugill, himself a Middlesbrough boy, former Middlesbrough player as well. Jones back to his goalkeeper, clipped away by Zach Steffen, who's on loan from Manchester City, returned by Lindsay in the midfield. He's the deepest of those midfielders, but Middlesbrough in a possession to be able to win it back with Dan Barlaser, who left here for Middlesbrough back in January in a £900,000 deal. He played more than 150 games for Rotheram. Good ball played forward towards the edge of the area. McGree could be in, flicks it past the goalkeeper, but it's cleared off the line in the nick of time by the retreating Richard Wood. Borough fans thought he was in. Jones plays it in, wins the corner. Defended well by Cohen Bramall. It was a good break. McGree getting it past the goalkeeper, but Wood got those 37-year-old legs back there in the nick of time to clear.
Terrific recovery run from Richard Wood, who got caught out by the ball initially. Boller just feeds it down the channel, and he's really slow on the turn. McGree outpaces him, does everything right with the dink, but he clears it off the line. Wood, excellent defending.
In comes the corner, Middlesborough's first, and then Swinger. Johansson punches it clear. Outside the penalty area to Boller, his first touch too heavy, and that meant that the ball out towards McNair became a fight ball for him, and it's cleared by a Dauphin and out of play for a throw, which Middlesbrough look to take quickly. They go back for Hackney. Hackney Teesside born and bred, but has pledged his international future to Scotland. He has the ball now. Back to Barlasser. Travelling Teesside is in fine voice away to our right-hand side. Their side defending the goal in front of the Middlesbrough fans in this first half.
Yeah, it was easy, wasn't it, the way that McGree got goal side of Chris Wood. He did look 37 there on the turn from that pass. And when you play Wood as part of a centre-back partnership rather than in a three, you are a little bit exposed to those long passes over the top, bypassing him. But to his credit, he never gave up on it. And that little dink from McGree over the goalkeeper Johansson just bought him a little bit of time to get back, and he even got back with time to spare there in the end, the veteran centre-half.
He's hoping to avoid what will be the 8th relegation of his career this season, Richard Wood. I mean, he's been around a long time, and you have to balance that up. He's won 3 promotions with Rotheram, so I'm not by any means disparaging him in saying that. He's been a fundamental part of so many of the teams that he's played for.
And they've got always a goal threat as well, particularly in recency.
Well, he was on 4 by the end of the first week of September this time around, which for the centre-half's pretty tidy.
Here he comes for this long throw from Harding.
Matt Taylor, the Rotheram manager, acting as the ball boy. Harding, former Birmingham man, drying the ball on his shirt and just waiting for everybody to push forward, and nearly everybody has, apart from Cam Humphreys. They're all in and around the penalty area. Harding launching this long in towards the near post. It is headed on dangerously. A sliced clearance from Jones. Headed back down. Lindsay just over the bar.
I think he should hit the target, Lindsay. That long throw caused all sorts of problems for the Middlesbrough rear guard. It was Wood, who we were just talking about, that got the first contact, and from there the ball bounced around inside the box. It's set up beautifully, I felt, for Lindsay, who just lashed at it, and it's gone over the crossbar in the end. I think that's a big opportunity.
Oh, and they played out from the back terribly here. Rotheram with an opportunity on the edge of the penalty area they couldn't take. It was Rathbone with the shot. And Middlesbrough loved to play out from the back. It was from the keeper forward to defender on the edge of the penalty area. 3 Rotheram players converged on him so quickly and embarrassed him, but Rathbone couldn't make the most of it. They've had 2 great chances in 40 seconds.
Yeah, they've been let off the hook, Middlesbrough here. Playing out from the back, there's Barlasser, the favourite here at the New York Stadium, on his return, that gets caught. And maybe, just maybe, that's part of the game plan here today. They want a Dauphin, they want Rathbone, 2 really good pressers, 2 defensive players, to be right high up the pitch for moments like that. And that's, it almost bore fruit straight away.
Well, with 10 minutes in, it could be 2-1 to Rotheram, but it is still 0-0 here on Talksport 2. Jim Proudfoot and Adrian Clark talking you through the action. So much live football coming your way on the Talksport network over the rest of the day. We've got a massive game in the Women's Champions League second leg later, 2-2 from the first leg between Arsenal and Wolfsburg. That's on Talksport 2 later, 5:45. That kicks off, and then that relegation showdown, by no means an archetypal relegation decider, but you wouldn't want to lose it, as Leicester are in action later against Everton, and that's over on Talksport, kicking off at 8. The winners of that one out of the bottom 3 with 4 games to go. We're 11 minutes into this one. Rotherham 0, Middlesbrough 0. Rotherham have managed to stay out of the bottom 3 all season, but they can't guarantee that they will still be there when the season finishes at 5 o'clock a week today. Ball out to the Middlesbrough left, brought under control by Boller. Flicked inside the penalty area from him, driven in by McGree towards the near post. Good movement from Archer across that near post area, but the angle was always tight, and he's slammed it wide of the near post. Out of play for a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, he's sharp, isn't he, Cameron Archer? In and around that 18-yard box, made a good run across the defender, but couldn't control the shot. It was a lovely switch of play, got to say, from Paddy McNair out to Mark Voller, who sort of had chalk on his boots, kept control of the ball. If I'm Matt Taylor, I'm not happy with Harding there. He's got to do a little bit more to block off the pass into Riley McGree. There's plenty of time for him to do that. So yeah, these direct balls from Middlesbrough, and we know they're a football team, but the direct passes are actually causing the home side a few issues here.
So what's Harding doing wrong there? Is it his starting position? Is it the way that he's reading situations?
Well, it's too narrow. So when the switch of play happens, he's got to get his starting position closer to Boller. And he was bypassed easily.
And they've got it past him again here as McGree wins another corner. It was a crossfield ball. Archer flicked it down the left-hand side of the penalty area to bypass Harding, and then McGree's subsequent cross is deflected behind for another corner, which is Borough's second.
Yeah, the issue is that he's got Riley McGree to look after. Well, Riley McGree is really a central player, so he needs to communicate, pass him on where possible, and deal with the wide man Boller.
Corner's taken short. Barlas hitting it high inside the penalty area. Good defensive header from a Dauphin. One of the players recalled to the side today, but his clearance isn't the best. It's slammed back in, and Johansson's handling under duress is good, because he just had to take a step back and try to catch the ball at his highest point. But as he did that, he was already falling backwards because of his momentum. But his handling didn't let him down. Comfortable claim. It's been a really bright start, as you would imagine, with so much at stake, particularly for Rotheram. 0-0 with 13 minutes gone, but if there were any worries from the likes of Reading and Huddersfield that Borough were just going to turn up and stroll through the sunshine, I can assure you that certainly hasn't happened.
That's not happening. No, it's not going to happen, because you can't turn form on and off like a tap, can you? You just can't. I know it's a cliche, but Michael Carrick will demand that his players stay sharp. They've got some huge games to come in the next few weeks, and they've got to be at it.
They face Coventry on the last day of the league season. That's a home game, and they're in a position potentially to engineer whether they want to play Coventry in the playoffs, because it could be that they will be 4th and 5th going into that game, and then if Borough were to lose, they would end up being 4th and 5th, and as a consequence would play each other again in the playoffs. If it were me, Coventry would be one I would want to avoid, I think, with Gyökeres.
I'm with you, yeah. Gyökeres for me is up there. He's unlucky, I think, maybe not to win Championship Player of the Year. Akpom got it, of course, for his goal output, but Gyökeres has been phenomenal.
Rotheram will bring it away, riding a challenge in the midfield. Obene is going to get the free kick eventually. The referee did everything he could to play the advantage. It was a bad challenge from Hackney. Obene going down, and he did everything he could to stay on his feet, but eventually lost his balance, and he hasn't got back up yet.
He's pulled his hamstring, I think. He reached for it straight away. Can't be crowd. He's got his head tucked inside his shirt. Yeah, and they're signalling they're going to have to make a change. As soon as he stretched for that, he reached for the hammy, and I think he's pulled it. So what a blow for him. Won't be able to play any part in the last game and a half, and of course, obviously, he'll want to play for the Republic of Ireland at the end of the season as well. So, yeah, bad news for him and for Rotheram, because if you're thinking about potential match winners, Jim, for Rotheram here this afternoon, not looking much past Chidozie Ogbene.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic season. 15 caps he's got for Ireland now, 9 goals, which is markedly his best in English football. But he's in some distress here. We could have quite a lengthy stoppage whilst they try and get him comfortable before helping him off the field. At the moment, they're just stretching out that left leg. He's got the right foot planted on the ground, and they're just stretching the left leg out. He's lying on his back. But the medical staff will give him every opportunity to try and get himself into a position to continue, although it seems largely inconceivable that might be the case, and to lose him 16 minutes into the game,
yeah, they've confirmed it,
will be a massive blow.
Yeah, I've just seen the physio. It's not too far away from us, the incident. 2 physios around Ogbene, and they've just signalled, get the substitute ready. Who's it going to be? Interesting to see what Matt Taylor does here.
Well, just looking in terms of the options, it could be Tariq Fosu, the Ghanaian international on loan from Brentford, who can play as a winger, he can play as a 10. He might be the man they bring on. It's not going to be Wiles, very unlikely you'd think to be Kelly, won't be Hjelde, Kioso, so...
No, I think you're right. I think Tariq Fosu's got to be favourite here.
Well, they've got Keena there as well, an attack-minded player, but a central one rather than a wide man.
Well, whoever it is has had no time to warm up. You know, it's so early on in the game. We've barely had, you know, the subs don't normally go out and do any work this soon in the game. So they're going to come on relatively cold.
It is going to be Fosu. But as you say, relatively cold. Played the first half of the season at Stoke. He's scored 1 goal for Rotheram, which came against West Brom. He's on loan from Brentford here at Rotheram, former Oxford man. And whilst they continue to give Chidozie Obene the treatment on the field, it just gives Fosu a little bit longer to get himself ready.
Do you know what? I think he hits on something there, and the referee's having a word there saying, look, if he is coming off, can we get him off and get on with the game? I think that's the message there. They're deliberately stalling this, Rotheram, so that they can get their man nice and warm. They might be waiting for a stretcher. I don't understand why we haven't got a stretcher as yet, but if he comes off, he doesn't really want to be putting too much weight on it.
Well, they're helping him back to his feet, which is good to see, and he's going to be able to leave the field under his own steam. But he is going to have to leave the field, and Tariq Fosu will come on to replace him. And that almost certainly is Obene's last action within this relegation battle for Rotheram. They're going to have to do it without him. You're listening to Rotheram against Middlesbrough in the EFL. It's live on Talksport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. So Fosu on, and I think they're the smallest man on the pitch now that he's come on. He's gravitated out towards that left flank. The Rotheram free kick taken on halfway by Cam Humphreys towards the edge of the penalty area. Flick on from Dauphin, helped in towards Hugill behind him. Good turn by Rathbone. Rathbone down for Wes Harding. Harding further down the line for Shane Ferguson, the Northern Ireland international. Will try and get it onto his left foot to deliver a cross. Boller knew that was going to happen, showed him back inside. Cross comes in eventually from Harding. Cleared out towards Tariq Fosu. What will his first contribution be like? He's got good movement outside him, but he'll check and clip it across from the corner of the penalty area. Diving headed clearance gets it out of harm's way. Lindsay wins it back for Rotheram, but referee Stroud was well placed and said that he had his arms around Akpom in doing so, and it's a free kick.
Did well there for the team. Chuba Akpom backed into the midfielder. He couldn't really get around him without committing the foul. He was nice and strong. Chuba Akpom, haven't seen a lot of him, have we, so far in the game? I think the Middlesbrough have really struggled to get quality service into the feet of Archer and Akpom. It's been such a sort of fast-paced, frenzied opening to this contest. They haven't really had an opportunity to play their football yet, Middlesbrough.
It is still 0-0. We've played 20 minutes. And Middlesbrough working out towards the left-hand side again, and Boller with a good first touch again round the side of Harding, but Archer just made his run from an offside position. And it's a free kick which will be taken on the edge of the penalty area. Don't forget, following our coverage today, Dan Windle brings you all of the fallout from the weekend's football on the EFL show, where he'll be joined by the former Queen's Park Rangers and Crystal Palace midfielder Sean Derry, who's Dan's studio guest this afternoon. And a reminder that Talksport Breakfast returns tomorrow morning from 6 as Laura Woods and Ali McCoy look back at tonight's football and that big game between Leicester and Everton that you can hear over on Talksport. And the former Everton defender Alan Stubbs will be amongst their guests. That's Woodsy and Coisty at 6 tomorrow morning over on Talksport. Rotherham have another throw. It's almost level with us. We're situated about midway inside the half that Rotherham are attacking. So being in front of us, it's in a position that Harding, if he can surreptitiously nick a few yards, and he's been able to do that, he's going to be able to launch one inside the penalty area. He's not just nicked a few, by the way, here. He's nicked about 10, because the positioning of the towel was quite clever. He went across to the hoardings to pick up the towel to dry the ball, then try to take the throw from there. The referee was alive to that and has waved him back. Harding, couple of steps, arches the back, hurls it in towards the near post. Wood trying to make something happen, cleared, and then McGree helps it further away. Back in from Humphreys, but straight to Barlaser, his former teammate. And his clearance will go out towards Isaiah Jones on the Middlesbrough right-hand side. A flurry of early chances. Lindsay with a rasping drive just over the bar. Rathbone not able to make the most of an error from Barlaser as Middlesbrough played out from the back. And McGree had one cleared off the line at the other end by Richard Wood, but midway through the first half, it's still goalless, Adrian Clark.
They're doing a good job, aren't they, Rotheram, of stopping Middlesbrough from playing. Obviously, we've had one or two examples where they've got in behind, not least that Riley McGree chance where he runs in beyond Richard Wood, but in general, has not been able to string that many passes together, Middlesbrough. And I go back to the point I made very early on in the game. I think it's down to the setup that Matt Taylor's gone with today. A Dauphin and Rathbone very, very high up, looking to basically stand on the two central midfielders and say, well, if you want to pass out from the back, go for it, because we're on their toes. And what's happening is that Middlesbrough are having to bypass those two central midfielders, and it's disrupted their rhythm.
Long ball played forward from the back, headed on by Lenihan, finding Akpom going down under a challenge from Lindsay, who didn't think there was a foul at all, and there's an angry reaction from Rathbone. Akpom has gone down in a crumpled heap, sitting up again now. He's going to be able to continue. Game that, if you're just joining us, we've already seen Rotheram lose Chidozie Ogbeni, and Johnny Howson are pulled out in the warm-up for Middlesbrough to be replaced by Paddy McNair. Akpom's okay, back on his feet. Man who's scored 28 goals in the Championship this season. His previous best return in a league campaign was 8, so he's more than tripled that.
Amazing. He loves Michael Carrick, and I think Michael Carrick
loves him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's it's not just been about Chuba Akpom, but without those goals, Middlesbrough wouldn't be where they are.
Well, I was on Teesside for the game against Hull, where he broke the record. He scored in a 9th successive home game in the Championship, and the reaction, Akpom, as soon as he scored, raced over and embraced his manager, which says it all about the job that they have done for each other. Here's Hackney. He's played it through the midfield for Barlaser towards the edge of the penalty area. Overhit for McGree, but Archer's movement so good that he was able to pick it up. Boller now towards the corner of the penalty area. Back from the Aussie McGree. Boller taking it on. Archer to Barlaser. Through the midfield to Dyksdale. Now it goes out towards the right-hand side. Chance for Jones to deliver, and it goes onto the roof of the net. It's actually a miss-hit cross too close to the goal. It kept Johansson honest, but although the angle was problematic for him, the elevation was such that he knew that it could just drop onto the roof of the net now to play for a goal kick.
Yeah, Isaiah Jones has got a lot of ability. He's a real handful. Obviously, he's had a lot of injuries this season. He was absolutely magnificent last campaign. But yeah, the quality of the balling wasn't great. Victor Johansson, they'll be pleased that he's back fit and available. Rotheram, he's a good keeper. Statistically, according to our pals at Opta, only Angus Gunn has prevented more goals, on the XG than Victor Johansson. So I think he's been worth between 6 and 7 goals this season, a Rotherham goalkeeper.
Well, and when things are as tight as they are down at the bottom, saving between 6 and 7 goals could be saving your Championship status. I mean, it is. Exactly. You're not overplaying it by saying that. I mean, Rotherham's, their goal difference for a side down there is only -12, and that's really impressive. That's half a point.
Very impressive. Yeah. And if it were to come down to goal difference, which it probably won't, but if it were, then it's going to save them. And yeah, I think they've not been easy to beat all season.
Yeah, particularly in the games against the top 6, which is something you alluded to earlier. But in their record against top 6 opposition this season prior to today, they played 11, they've only won 1, but they've only lost 4. They've been able to hang in games. They tend to lose games only by the odd goal. They've only lost 4 of those 11 matches against top 6 opposition before this one. And
drew with Burnley and Sheffield United here, didn't they? Obviously Premier League bound. So yeah, I don't think they're fazed by anyone, especially not in front of their own supporters here. They're fast starters as well, Rotherham. They might be a little bit frustrated they haven't got their noses in front already. They certainly went for it, didn't they, in that opening 10 minutes.
They missed those good couple of chances after Wood had cleared from McGree off the line at the other end. Still 0-0. 26 minutes gone. A little bit more cloud cover here. The shadows just beginning to diminish a little. It's a throw which Rotheram will take. A lot of the play has been in Middlesborough's half in the early stages. Rathbone trying to play it in. He's lost possession. Oh, what a crucial challenge that was from Humphreys, because it could have been a 2-against-0 counter-attack from halfway had they got past him there. But they didn't. Rotheram able to bring it forward again. Working it out to the substitute Fosu. Working the angle on his right foot. Can he get a shot in? No, he can't. He's got to turn. Play it back the other way. A Dolphin out towards the left-hand side. Low-driven ball. McNair on the slide can stoop to get it away. And then Jones down by his own corner flag will be able to get it further clear, but not far enough. Rathbone's got it. Rathbone ball in, and just ahead of Hugill, who was coming in. And Boller had covered his run and did well for his goalkeeper there to make sure that the ball beat everybody and went out of play for a goal kick.
It was almost undefendable, that ball in from Ollie Rathbone, who's been impressive. Really liked his busyness in the opening half an hour of this game. He keeps winning the ball back, and when he's on it, he's looking to probe. And that was a vicious in-swinging cross. Very good. Boller could easily have turned that into his own goal. He somehow got his body between himself and Jordan Hugill and managed to shepherd the ball in behind. But yeah, that was much better from Rotheram. They looked the more likely, you've got to say.
Borough have a throw near halfway on their left, taken by Boller. And via a couple of touches from Hackney and Archer, it's been worked out towards McNair. One-time Manchester United player, bringing it towards the edge of the centre circle and finding Darragh Lenihan. His first season since his move from Blackburn, who potentially are one of Middlesbrough's playoff opponents.
Rathbone again there, breaking up the play. Great tackle on Riley McGree.
And Lindsay ducking his head in. The Scotsman then losing out to Hackney and fouling him. And getting a yellow card as well. No complaints from him actually that time. He knew that they're a little bit late, shoved him to the ground. So Lindsay joins Hackney in the book.
Yeah, I think it's foul number 3 or 4 as well for Lindsay. So the totting up process would have maybe played a part in Keith Stroud's decision. But it kind of sums up his combativeness, sums up Rotheram's approach here. They are being physical. They've got to be, haven't they? They know that if they're making a nice, pretty football match, Middlesbrough will probably win the game. So they've got to do their best, the Millers, to make it a different kind of match. And at the moment, they're succeeding in that.
Well, possession overwhelmingly in Middlesbrough's favour, but when Rotherham have had it, they haven't strung long passing moves together, but they have been busy around the final third. And Middlesbrough have had the ball in the much less dangerous areas until now anyway. Akpom going down on the edge of the penalty area. Referee says no penalty, in fact no foul. He's waved play on, and it just looked as though Akpom had got him past his man for a moment. The ball eventually put out of play for a throw to be taken quickly by Dykesdale on the Middlesbrough right-hand side.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty. I think he lost balance. What a pass by Hayden Hackney inside the fullback Cohen Bramall. It was absolute perfection for Akpom, who makes a good run and gets knocked off it.
And they've got in the same way again for a moment in past Cohen Bramall. But Johansson read the script and got out there very quickly and was able to make the save, diving at the feet of Isaiah Jones. And now Bramall will make his way forward. Rathbone ends up on the deck after a little shove off the ball there. He's back on his feet. Referee indicates that he saw that. Rotherham in possession, allowed to play on, have the advantage. Fosu's got it, always wanting to turn from that left wing position onto his right foot. Middlesbrough slowly getting alive to that. Rathbone, space on the Rotherham right hand side for Harding. They go back via Humphreys to find him, and now Wes Harding has it, trying to get away from another former Birmingham man, McGree, inside the penalty area, almost broke a Dolphins way. Boller sticks his foot in. Hugill claiming there was a handball in there. A combination of Dykesdale and Hackney inside the penalty area, and Middlesbrough whack it away.
Yeah, appeals yes, but for me it's good defending, good central midfield play from Hayden Hackney. Again, we saw what he was about in possession with that pass a moment or two ago there on the edge of his own box, just on the toes of the centre forward to just make sure that he can't control the ball easily. It would have been so harsh. It sort of bounced up from less than a yard. Even if it did hit his arm, I wouldn't give that.
This Borough's 6th season back in the Championship. If they lose today, they will definitely finish 4th. If they draw, then Luton would only need 1 point from their last 2 games to ensure that they finish third and Middlesbrough were fourth. They can't finish any lower than that, so they know they're going to be at home for the second leg of the playoff semi-final, which is clearly the optimum.
Yeah.
If Borough were to win their final 2 games, then Luton would need a win from their last 2. They go to Blackburn and then are at home to Hull next Monday. So that's the situation in terms of what's left. Middlesbrough's final games mentioned earlier, at home to Coventry. Rotheram, for their part, go to Wigan, already relegated on the final day. The ball clear towards the edge of the penalty area. Should be whacked away easily enough by McNair. Back from Richard Wood. And then brought down by a Dauphin. Leaves it for Rathbone. Fosu. Plenty of traffic to try and successfully navigate. It was very well played to win it back on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and a chance to stand all up towards Hugill. Ferguson's ball didn't quite get there. Hackney back again to clear. Again showing another illustration of how good he is off the ball. Lindsay played out to the Rotheram left, winning it back. Rathbone, opportunity to try and work it down the line. Lawrence chased after it, knew he was second favourite. Dykesdale shepherds it over the line. Rotheram fans, though, appreciating the effort. Their side have given a good account of themselves. We're 33 minutes in here on Talksport 2. It's 0-0. And these are the views of Adrian Clark.
Yeah, really enjoying the game. I think that Rotheram have made it their kind of contest. No doubt about that. I like the game plan from Matty Taylor. They're stopping Middlesbrough from playing through the thirds, pinning those 2 central midfielders. And they're winning the ball back in good areas, and whenever they're in the final third, and they've been there quite often in this opening half, they've caused problems. So I think there'll be great encouragement in the home ranks. As for Middlesbrough, they haven't really got going yet. We'd like to see a little bit more from Akpom and Archer up top.
But they've got a problem, Rotheram, because Ferguson is down now. They've already lost 1 winger to injury in this game. Benny, the man that went off, and Ferguson is down, having given chase to that lost cause 30 seconds or so ago, and he's down receiving treatment at the moment. And we welcome listeners from Talksport here to the New York Stadium. It's 0-0 between Rotheram and Middlesbrough, which would almost be enough for Rotheram to guarantee their championship status for another year. It's been a goalless but very entertaining opening half hour or so in the company of Adrian Clark, where chances have come at both ends, particularly early in the game. Riley McGree beat the goalkeeper but saw his effort cleared off the line by Richard Wood. And then Rotheram, within the next couple of minutes, had 2 great chances. Lindsay firing just over the bar, and a mistake by the former Rotheram man Dan Barlas, that caught in possession on the edge of his own penalty area, led to a chance for Ollie Rathbone, but he never looked as though he was going to be able to make the most of it. It's 0-0, a little bit nervous, a bit of tension. Rotheram, particularly after losing the Irish international winger Ogbeni to injury, but they've been very good value for parity, Adrian Clark.
Yeah, I've been impressed with them. Yeah, a lot of pressure on them here this afternoon, but they've approached the challenge with relish. They've been really assertive in the game. They've stopped Middlesbrough from playing through the thirds, and they've won the ball back in some great areas and created half chances. Not one massive chance so far, but for me, they're just shading this at the moment, Rotheram.
Middlesbrough without Johnny Howson today, who pulled out of the game in the warm-up, so Paddy McNair was recalled into the side. He's in possession now. The game academic, really, as far as they're concerned, their big battles lie later on in the month. They're guaranteed to finish either third, but almost certainly fourth in the playoff positions for Middlesbrough. It's all about who they get in the semi-finals. The live commentary of the game continues over on Talksport 2, but here with 35 gone in South Yorkshire, it is Rotheram 0, Middlesbrough 0. And Rotheram work it back inside their own penalty area for keeper Johansson. Hugill knew that he was offside, made no attempt to go for the long ball that was launched forward by the Swede at the back. He's played nearly 100 games for the Millers now. Johansson missed a few recently because of injuries. So Josh Vickers came in, and Robbie Hemfrey saw a half of football as well. But it is Johansson back, the number 1 for the business end of the season. Ball is over on the Middlesbrough right. Dykesdale, back from McNair. Stefan taking a couple of touches, bringing it outside the penalty area in his white boots, and then playing it forward towards Lenihan. 4 Rotheram players quickly converged on him. He laid it back, and a long ball Sent out towards the right-hand side for Jones, was misdirected by Hackney and goes out for a throw, which will be taken on the Rotheram left-hand side. And for that flurry of activity, maybe the game just going through a little bit of a lull the last 6-7 minutes or so.
I'd say so, yeah, and we can forgive the players for that. We've had a few stoppages, haven't we? Obviously with the Ogbene injury, then with Ferguson, it can just take the momentum out. I think that Michael Carrick's just pushed Riley McGree more central. He's kind of acting as the number 10 at the moment, with Chuba Akpom more of the left winger, which is quite unusual. Just putting him on Wes Harding. What we saw from Riley McGree in that position, he's got good movement. He made a really good decoy run to open up space for Isaiah Jones on the right, but the pass to him was poor. But you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to release their fullbacks or their wide players, Borough, at every opportunity via good movement. But so far, I think Rotherham will be pleased with how they've coped with that.
Those are the thoughts of Adrian Clark, the former Arsenal winger, here on Talksport 2. As Middlesbrough play the ball forward into the feet of Hackney inside the centre circle. Well, we've seen very little of Akpom, but then there have been games like that where you see very little of him, and all of a sudden he scored 2 in 5 minutes, and the destiny of the points has been changed irrevocably. McNair sending a long one out towards the Middlesbrough left-hand side for Boller. Boller drives it in. Harding blocks it well. Goes out of play for a throw.
Yeah, it's maybe it's more of a, maybe they've gone with more of a front two, actually, looking at it with Akpom and Archer, with Riley McGree behind, and then more of a diamond midfield. I think they're just trying to find a way to get through this Rotherham midfield, which has been packed.
Here's McNair. And they're bringing it forward towards halfway. Gets his right foot underneath it, sends it down towards Boller. Boller does well, takes a step back over the line, but makes sure that the ball doesn't follow him. Heads it down. McGree, as he won the corner. Looked as though he had.
Ferguson again. I just wonder whether
there's a foul by McGree on Ferguson inside the penalty area. That's what's been given, but as you say, he's down injured, having received treatment for 2 or 3 minutes. Only 5-6 minutes ago. He's going to need more treatment, and obviously that casts doubt over his ability to be able to continue.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to continue. Look, they've got Ben Miles stripped and ready for action. What a blow from Matt Taylor. The two wingers that started the game, the guys really charged with making things happen, providing the ammunition into the box, both having to come off before half-time. Really disappointing, but what can they do? You've just got to take it on the chin and reorganise, haven't you?
So a chance for Ben Wiles, who is from Rotherham, born in the town. Haven't seen him much recently. He made a substitute appearance against Burnley a couple of weeks ago, but that's the only time that he's featured since December. But he is a man that has scored away to each of the top 2 this season, including a famous winner in these parts at Sheffield United. And he comes on now to replace the stricken Ferguson. So that's both wingers, as Adrian was saying, that have been lost to injury inside the opening 40 minutes.
Yeah, just wondering what they're going to do to reorganise here.
They're wondering what they're going to do to reorganise as well, by the way.
It feels like it might come out on the right initially. So Fosu left, Wiles right, and they're sticking with that midfield triangle of Lindsay, Dauphin and Rathbone.
And now Hugel has gone down hurt, and play's got to stop. He's gone down holding his face. There's going to be a lot of stoppage time at the end of this first half. I mean, it could easily be 6 minutes. I think Hugel's going to be all right. He's been involved in more physical skirmishes than that in the past. He's back on his feet. Jordan Hugel signed from Norwich in January. He scored 5 goals for the Millers. Scored against his hometown club for both Preston and QPR earlier in his career as well. But they've not given him a sniff of a chance yet today.
Not really, no. I think that Lenihan's doing a pretty good job on him. He's very good in the air. We know that. He'll win the duels, but yeah, he's been on the periphery of the game, you'd say.
Middlesbrough in possession. Inside their own penalty areas. McNair works it back for Stefan, gets the return ball. Lindsay picks that up, but it's a pass forward without quality, as one frustrated Rotheram fan to our right-hand side points out quite vociferously. Who was that to? Was the general gist of it. And he had a point.
He did, yeah, it wasn't the best.
Well, the answer was Zach Stefan. Unfortunately, from a Rotherham perspective, it's 0-0, 4 minutes plus a stack of minutes of stoppage time to be added on. Akpom dropping deep, picks it up on halfway, and back he goes to Hackney to Lenihan, who will bring it forward over the halfway line, and then a little reverse from McGree. The idea was right, didn't get the angle or the weight quite right for the run from Archer, who tried to get in between Humphreys and Wood, and the ball beat him and goes through towards Johansson.
And that's what they're trying to do. You saw that's Middlesbrough in a nutshell. And actually, they've worked, what they're doing here in this first half. They're working out as they go along the best way to adapt to Rotheram's tactics. You'll notice Zach Steffen higher up the pitch, acting as a sort of auxiliary centre back in possession. They're just trying to create overloads. On that occasion, it was Lenihan that becomes spare. He then passes the ball into midfield, and they go from there. So, yeah, quite impressed with the way that Middlesbrough have found a way to overcome these tactics.
As a rumbustious challenge came in from Rathbone over on the touchline. That's one of those, showing my age, in the old days would have been no problem with that whatsoever. These days that is a free kick.
Yeah.
It's taken by Steffen. Yeah, give it, going back 35 years or so ago, then that would have been a relatively tame one. Here's Boller, bring towards the edge of the penalty area. Low ball in from him, just beats Archer. Shot comes in from Barlasser. That would have been a heartbreaker for Rotherham if he scored against them, but didn't happen, it was blocked. Now the Millers working their way out towards Fosu. Fosu coming in from the left-hand touchline, lays it back for Lindsay. Lindsay is forced to turn by the presence of Jones. Then it's clipped forward by Rathbone. Dauphin finds himself as the most advanced. McNair back to Steffen. You can tell that Steffen has been in training sessions with Edison for a lot of his career, because he has that perceived nonchalance in possession that Edison has, and we saw it there. It was just waiting for Dauphin to wire into a challenge, and he calmly tapped it past him to find McNair again.
So chilled out, isn't he? He just doesn't seem flustered at all, very confident with the ball at his feet. You know, when you're talking about going back 35 years or so, I mean, goalkeepers just didn't train with their feet. It wasn't part of their skill set back in the day. You could pick those up, of course, but yeah, very different breed now. And yeah, he can clearly pass the ball pretty well, Steffen. And Carrick, he's modern, isn't he? He's a modern coach. He wants his goalkeeper to play that way.
Yes, we saw that almost come to Middlesbrough's downfall early in the game with that illustration where Steffen had it at the back, played it out towards Barlasser, who wasn't necessarily ready for the three-man press which came his way, and was embarrassed, but he got away with it. There's Barlasser again. That's a really good ball forward. Chance for Isaiah Jones. He's gone in behind Cohen Bramall. Deflection on the cross from the retreating Lindsay. It's good defending. Out of play for a corner.
No, that's desire for you. That is absolutely outstanding from Lindsay. I mean, that was a superb pass, wasn't it? By Barlasser to release Jones. He's away. His first touch is great. He knocks it out of his feet. So from nowhere, really, Jamie Lindsay slides in to block the cross. It's out for a corner, but it's excellent midfield play.
The fourth official about to show how many extra minutes there are going to be. There's going to be a few. Middlesbrough will take this corner from the right-hand side. Near post flick was potentially potent, but just came in behind all the runners in the end. Goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken by Borough. It was well defended. Must have been a defensive flick, as it is a Borough throw. Just a few seconds remaining in the first half. Stephen Martin, the fourth official, has the numbers board in his hand. We'll find out in a moment how many extra minutes it's going to be. Is it going to be 6? 5, okay. So those 5 minutes will start with another Middlesbrough corner.
Yeah, but it feels quite conservative. Feels like we might have lost 7 or 8, to be honest, but we are where we are, and it's Rotheram that are probably looking at the clock at the moment, wishing they could hear the half-time whistle, because this is a second corner in succession for Borough.
Yeah, no complaints from the Rotheram fans that it's only 5. In comes the corner, too low and flat from McGree, and easily volleyed away at the near post by Fosu. Out of play for a throw, midway inside the half. Taken quickly. Chance for McGree to deliver. Archer with a deft little flick on. He just almost stooped to let the ball hit the top of his head. Almost perfect. Rotherham with only a half clearance. Picked up again by McGree. Then to Hackney down by the corner flag. Harding heads away. McGree lets it run out of play. Just make sure that it didn't hit him on the way out. And it's a throw which will be taken on the Middlesbrough left, taken by McGree, down towards the dead ball line for Archer. Little right-footed flick, getting it inside the penalty area for Mark Boller, cleared though by Rathbone. Lenihan stepping up, didn't get the touch that he wanted, and McNair almost put it into Millmore. Such was the depth on his clearance.
Yeah, I think that was it's going to hit the roof for a moment or two. I think it just missed the roof, but that was some clearance. But yeah, Middlesbrough starting to show their quality now, aren't they? We're seeing more of Archer, more of Akpom, more of Riley McGree. These are the guys that are the match winners for Middlesbrough.
The old ground isn't too far from here, and it's still intact. I mean, it's they haven't played out Millmore, I'm guessing 13, 14 years, something like that. But it's still there. Floodlight Pylon still visible from the M1.
Yeah, I played there. Well, I had a very brief loan spell here at Rotheram, and it's a proper old ground. Millmore.
Yeah, I thought you got a frosty welcome when you came.
Oh, no one can remember that. I think I only played 2 or 3 games, but it's don't particularly have happy memories. Long story short, the director of football at the time, and so they did have one actually. He was the one who recruited me. The manager did not need a winger, and as a consequence, I barely played.
Nice episode all round by the sound of it.
I asked for a swift exit.
Lindsay, Rotherham hoping they don't make a swift exit from the Championship. That's the bottom line. Wiles, one of 2 substitutes they've been forced to bring on. Fosu with a well-intentioned dummy, but didn't work for Rathbone, and Middlesbrough are going to be able to clear down the left-hand side with Dan Barlasser. Barlasser gets the halfway, checks back inside. His crossfield ball seized upon by Fosu, but then Lenihan plays it forward. Jones stumbled, so Bramall had a chance to win it back, tapped it panic-stricken through the midfield straight to the nearest dark blue shirt. They then lose it, Middlesbrough themselves, and Johansson ends up clearing. It's all getting very frantic and frenetic in the heart of the midfield battle at the moment.
I think the natives around us are getting frustrated at the lack of quality with the passing. They are giving the ball back too easily at the moment, Rotherham to Middlesbrough. That is a problem.
Akpom, Jones, Dykesdale getting round the back and wins another corner as we approach half-time. It's Middlesbrough's 5th. And McGree will go out to take it, and it is the cue for Darragh Lenihan to make his way forward, for Paddy McNair to do likewise.
Yeah. Just looking at the pass success percentage, just 57% of Rotherham's passes have found their intended target, so I mean that's not great.
Come back to that in a moment. In comes the corner, very, very deep. McNair coming round the back, heads it back into the fray, but the ball had actually curved over the line and out of play for a goal kick. We're 4 minutes into the 5 added on at the end of this first half. It's still 0-0 here on Talksport 2. Jim Proudfoot and Adrian Clark talking through the action from the New York Stadium. Really good game with everything on it. And there's a tension. There's a good end-of-season fixture, this. Going back to that pass accuracy. Now, some of that is down to the fact that Rotherham like to look long. Yeah. But not all of it is down to that.
No, there's a mixture of that, and they've been rushed. I think they have a slight lack of composure, particularly over the last 15-20 minutes from Rotherham, when they had a chance to put their foot on the ball and make passes. They've been too hurried and very, very wasteful, and as a consequence they've not really been able to sustain any attacks.
Fosu onside, Hugill making his way forward now. It's a big decision now. Dykesdale's brought him down in the penalty area. This could be red. It might not be, but the referee Keith Stroud's got a big decision to make. Hugill rolled him, got wrong side, and he's off. Dykesdale sent off for a professional foul on Hugill, denying the obvious goal-scoring opportunity right on the edge of the penalty area. A free kick for Rotherham, but what a chance they've got now, playing 45 minutes against 10 men.
I think it's the right decision. He is the last man. He definitely pulls down Hugill, I believe deliberately. It's right on the edge of the D, or inside the D. He was away, he took him out. I don't think the referee had too many options there. They've been denied the penalty here, Rotherham, because it's just inches outside, so probably fitting that Middlesbrough lose the player. No major complaints, I have to say, from Dykesdale either. Wow, what a big moment in this match, in this championship season, particularly for those at the bottom of the table. That could turn out to be.
Well, what an opportunity they have now. They've come into the final 3 games, Rotheram, knowing that salvation very much in their own hands. Lost the first of those here against Cardiff at the back end of last week. But now against the Middlesbrough side, ostensibly playing for nothing, and down to 10 men, they've got 45 minutes to make the most of a numerical advantage. Plus, 1 attacking phase of play left in this first half. Now the wall is being frog marched back by the referee, 5 yards. It's 5 strong. They're going to stick Boller down in the draft excluded position behind it. McGree kind of a second slip to the edge of the wall, if you like. Everybody back for Middlesbrough. Cohen Bramall with his left, Tariq Fosu with his right. Those are the 2 principal options here as far as Rotheram are concerned. Ball spotted down in the D. Fosu comes towards it, leaves it. Bramall way over the bar. That's the last kick of the first half, but the major moment in the first half coming just before it. Dijksdale sent off for a professional foul on Jordan Hugill. And at the break, it's Rotherham United 0, 10-man Middlesbrough 0. Dan? Thank you, Dan. Well, referee Keith Stroud is just waiting for the signal to get this game back underway. Rotherham red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts, and Borough in their two-tone blue kit. Borough kicking from left to right towards the end of the ground that houses the travelling Middlesbrough supporters. But they're down to 10 men after that dismissal of Dijksdale in the 5th minute of first half stoppage time. We're back underway, and the ball launched long by Humphries, straight out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Middlesbrough right-hand side. So this is how the sides line up right now. Johansson in goal for Rotherham, Harding, Wood, Humphries and Bramall. And then Lindsay anchoring the midfield. 4 ahead of that, Wiles on the right-hand side, Fosu on the left, Doffin and Rathbone in central midfield, and Hugill up front. They've made 2 changes in the first half, both enforced because of injury, with Obene and Ferguson going off. Middlesbrough, Stephen in goal. A substitute Smith, McNair, Lenihan and Boller at the back 4. And then Jones, Barlasser, Hackney and McGree, and Akpom up front on his own in a 4-4-1. 0-0 the scoreline. Dijksdale the man sent off. We've also seen Lindsay and Hackney go in the book. Ball out of play for a throw. It should be taken on the Middlesbrough left-hand side. This referee, incidentally, did oversee one of Rotherham's most significant days of the season. Their win at Sheffield United was also officiated by Keith Stroud, and they'll be hoping that that is an omen for them, the Millers. Draw here, they're all but safe, but mathematically they could still go down. They might be mathematically safe without kicking a ball, though, because if they draw here, their status is confirmed if Huddersfield lose against Sheffield United on Thursday. So that would be the next obstacle for them to get over, albeit that they'd be doing so watching and listening. Stephen at the back for Middlesbrough, playing out, finding Lenihan. Lenihan towards the edge of the centre circle, play forward towards Akpom. Akpom just dispossessed by a Doffin. Humphries, the shock of hair, laying it back for Wood. Wood down towards Cohen Bramall, who Arsenal once signed from non-league football in the Midlands, from Hensford Town. His ball forward, a little bit hit and hope, and Middlesbrough can pick it up again at the back. Yeah, I remember when he joined Arsenal, Cohen Bramall. Yeah, a lot of expectation around him. Didn't quite make it there, but he's gone on to have a decent EFL career. Yeah, more than 150 games behind him now. Here's Rathbone. A Doffin urged to shoot, does so. Oh, he does so. It's a magnificent strike from 25 yards. He's bent it into the bottom right-hand corner. And 3 minutes into the second half, Rotherham have the goal that might keep them in the championship. Hakeem Doffin with the biggest goal of his life. It's Rotherham 1, Middlesbrough 0.
That is an absolute belter. It really is. Zach Steffen did not move. It whistled past him in a flash. A little bit of dip on the ball. He struck it from around the D. It didn't even have to go right in the corner. It was viciously hit. And what a moment. Rotherham, you imagine now, will be staying up.
So all they've got to do is get through the next 42 minutes against 10 men without conceding a goal, and they are staying up. They've been relegated in each of the last 3 seasons in the Championship. They finished 24th in 2017, 22nd in 2019, 23rd in 2021. Even the 2 seasons before that when they stayed up in the position just above the dotted line. Fourth bottom, plenty good enough this season. But as things stand right now, they're out of the bottom 4. This victory will take them above Huddersfield if they can hang on to this 1-0 lead. But there's going to be some nervous times ahead. I think that is pretty obvious. And Middlesbrough, on the first attack since the kickoff, win a free kick. Jones was fouled down near the corner flag, and it's a chance for McGree to put one in from a good position, Adrian.
Yeah, professional pride has to kick in for Middlesbrough. There's no way they're just going to lay down and roll over and accept defeat here. They don't want to go into the playoffs on a bad run. So I think there will be real determination from them. And I wouldn't write them off, even with a man disadvantage, because tension is bound to affect Rotheram.
Got a very good home record, Borough. They've only got the 9th best away record in the division. And Rotheram's home record is very much mid-table. In comes this free kick from McGree, and Humphrey's got a shout to leave it. He just deliberately jumped early enough that the ball sailed over his head and goes straight out of play for a goal kick. Yeah. It's Rotheram 1, 10-man Middlesbrough 0, with 5 gone in the second half on Talksport 2.
Yeah, what an atmosphere now. The fans are absolutely loving it. They weren't happy, really, approaching half-time. There's a lot of frustration. But, yeah, they're singing Super Matty Taylor songs. And they're feeling pretty chipper as we speak. Yeah, on Borough, they've lost 11 times away from home in the league. That's a lot, isn't it, for a side that was in the race for automatic promotion until a few weeks ago. So that's a concern, I think, coming into the playoffs. Whoever they get in the first leg, got to make sure they stay in the tie, Middlesbrough.
Well, I think that despite the fact that they haven't had a good record against any of the sides that they could face in the playoffs, really, they will be the favourites going into it to win automatic promotion. And yet, if they lose here, they would have lost more than half of their league games over the course of the season. They lost the 6 of the top 7, including Luton and Coventry and Millwall and Sunderland and West Brom. They did win at Sheffield United. Also won against 4 of the bottom 8 on the road. Rotheram hoping that they don't add their names to that. Akpom making his way forward. Lindsay's fouled him. Lindsay's got to be careful. He's on a yellow card. Now, that wasn't a yellow card challenge, but he got the first yellow card for persistent infringement. And the last thing Rotheram need here is a parity in terms of personnel.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think he's walking a fine line, actually, now, Jamie Lindsay, because it's part of his job, isn't it, to be aggressive, to make those recovery challenges.
Right, so a little bit of an argument as to whose throw that should be. It has been given Middlesbrough's way. The ball boys have been well briefed because the young man away to our right-hand side has showed absolutely no willingness to throw the ball to Tom Smith so that he could restart play.
Smart lad.
Absolutely. And match management is an important part of the game.
Yeah. Teach
him young.
Do you think they have been briefed?
Yeah,
they have.
Well, it might not have been briefed, but he had the wherewithal to know what to do. And there's no complaints, because if it was my club involved, I would want him to do exactly the same. Here's Fosu. Fosu back for Lindsay. Lindsay turns it back for his goalkeeper. Oh, Johansson just wanted a touch more than perhaps he had time for comfortably, but he did get it away from Akpom. And then coming back by Lassa, guides it back for McNair, and he will find his goalkeeper. Played back to McNair from Stefan. Yard outside the penalty area. You can hear the intensity of the Rotheram support. The clock will tick down pretty slowly for them. It's away to our right-hand side, just above the Middlesbrough fans. It's showing 53 minutes at the moment. Here's Tommy Smith. McNair finding himself at right back for a moment with a deft little back heel flick. Michael Carrick, who's standing largely motionless on the edge of the technical area, just waved McNair back into position after he threatened to go on a little unwarranted sortie down the right-hand touchline from centre half. He was subtly dissuaded from doing that.
Yeah, I think we got two of the calmer managers in the division here today. Neither Carrick or Taylor, particularly the type to pace up and down or gesture too manically. I mean, Carrick is very laid back, isn't he? He certainly gives off that kind of aura, but he knows what he's talking about. He's a smart guy, Michael Carrick, and he's got himself a really good team here. But to get anything out of this game, they're going to have to raise their levels, aren't they? Haven't really been anywhere close to their free-flowing best today.
Yeah, both of the managers do a good line in pensive. There's no doubt about that. I think they'll probably be pretty mean poker players as well.
Yeah.
Motionless and emotionless, by and large. I'm sure not inwardly, either of them, at various times, particularly Matty Taylor now, who did such a brilliant job at Exeter. 4 years there, before taking over here back in early October when Paul Warne left for Derby. It's going to be a free kick here, which will be taken by Rotheram, only about 10 yards inside their own half. Johansson is going to come all the way forward, the goalkeeper, to take it, and is actually going to spot the ball down about 3 yards further back before slamming it forward here. Rotheram 1, Middlesbrough 0. Hakeem Adoffin, the hero. Long ball played forward. Hugill, the man who's challenged by Dykesdale for the red card, trying to hold it up, couldn't really do so. Adoffin's given it away. He's still very much in credit over the course of the afternoon. And then Barlassa came into a challenge where Adoffin didn't really move too far away from the ball. Contact was made and the free kick's been given Middlesbrough's way. Then when it was taken, it was deemed to be a moving ball, so Keith Stroud has asked for it to be taken again.
I've enjoyed his performance, Adoffin, charging around in this sort of more advanced position. Basically, he's there to break up play, isn't he? Primarily. But as we saw with the goal, he's used his ability. He's thought, oh, OK, I'm here, I might as well have a crack, and what a strike it was.
Zach Steffen, the man that he beat, and he's got the ball now. 6 yards outside the penalty area. And only when Hugill really engaged did he launch it forward. They're trying to get Jones making a run in round the back of Lindsay. Middlesbrough pick up the seconds around the edge of the penalty area. Lindsay there with a well-timed challenge, poked it away from Jones and out of play for a throw. 35 minutes to go. Rotheram leading Middlesbrough by a goal to nil. If it stays this way, they're safe, and Reading are really in it, if they're not already. Blackpool and Wigan, the two sides that have already seen their fate confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, if Huddersfield lose to Sheffield United, it's all on that last game, isn't it? Huddersfield, Reading. With, I guess, who's got the worst goal difference out of those two?
Huddersfield just by 2, so I don't know what the goals scored would be. Obviously, if Reading beat them by a goal, their goal difference would be level. So I don't know. I'll have a quick look as to exactly what the goals scored situation is between the two of those. It's better for Reading, actually. So a 1-goal win for Reading, any win for Reading and Huddersfield, will keep them up at Huddersfield's expense. If this stays as it is at the moment, and if Huddersfield lose to Sheffield United in their game in hand, which takes place on Thursday. Loads of ifs, buts and maybes, even at this protracted late stage of the season, of course. But the bottom line is, no ifs, buts and maybes about the scoreline here. Rotherham leading 1-0, that's enough for them. Mathematically certain to stay up if they win this game. But they're on the back foot now. The 10 men bring it forward. Bills for an offside. No flag comes up. Middlesbrough get a corner. As well defended by the retreating Harding and Lindsay, who we talked about the fact that he's got to be careful from a disciplinary point of view. Can't afford too many more mistimed challenges, but he's a hive of industry. He's giving everything for the cause.
Yeah, it is. He's covering a lot of times in this match. He got through some work rate. He's on his haunches now, breathing heavily, Jamie Lindsay, but you cannot question his commitment to the cause here. But I think they might have to take him off to avoid the red.
In comes the corner. Hugo heads it away. Middlesbrough down to 10 after Dykesdale's professional foul at the end of the first half, denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Rotherham made a mess of the free kick, but they've made the most of the numerical advantage in the second half with the Dolphins' goal. Here's Tommy Smith, though, for Middlesbrough. Low-driven ball in from him. Richard Wood gets it away and goes out for a throw, which will be taken on the Middlesbrough right. Ball boy threatened to languidly climb over the hoardings to get it, and then decided he wasn't going to, but it was thrown back for Smith to take it. Smith poking it down the line for Jones. Jones was onside, and then back to Jones again, and Bramall's got to be careful. Sweeps up, completes the clearance, concedes the corner. Middlesbrough with a good response here.
Very good response. They're getting in down the sides, aren't they? The last couple of minutes, the fullbacks overlapping. On this occasion, Jones is making run after run. He's looking to use his pace to get in beyond.
1-0 Rotherham lead it. McGree with the corner. It's headed away by Hugill. Back out for Riley McGree. Neat control on his thigh, and then he didn't make the move that Tommy Smith was expecting. He laid it off for Smith. A little wall pass, but he just stopped and admired his handiwork. Smith played it back to him, but only back to where he thought he was going to be. It's gone out of play for a goal kick. 59 gone, 1-0, and another change is going to be made. It's a Middlesbrough change. And we're going to see
Alex Mowat, isn't it?
Mowat coming on, and it is Hackney that comes off.
Yeah, impressed with Hackney. I mean, didn't do anything special particularly here, but some good passing. Looks really assured on the ball, and it's a good piece of defending in that first half as well. I think for Michael Carrick as well, it's about getting game time to the squad players ahead of the playoffs, because you never know who will be needed in your moment of need, so you've got to keep everyone sharp and match fit.
Yeah, it's a really difficult situation to manage, I would imagine, when you've qualified for the playoffs with a bit to spare. It's not as if your season is going to be intense as it is for the sides that are involved in the battle for sixth, for instance. They're going right to the wire. Every game's so important. That's not the case for Middlesbrough. Come back to that in a moment, as Borough, who are trailing both in terms of personnel and goals, a man down and a goal down. They're in possession. Barlasser works it back to halfway. Lenihan and Barlasser chipping it down to the Middlesbrough right-hand side for McNair. McNair for Jones, and gets the return ball round the back of Fosu. Then he just stops the ball. McGree will come onto it. Smith in space on the Middlesbrough right-hand side on the overlap. Smith coming in. Challenge comes in from Bramall. We didn't win it cleanly. Fans don't like the decision. I'm sure it was correct. Certainly got a lot more of Smith than he got of the ball. It's a free kick to Middlesbrough round the edge of the penalty area. But just going back to that point, Clarkie, but it's a difficult one for Michael Carrick to manage, because you're in a position, you have the luxury of being able to give some of your key players a week off, but how do you really juggle it to make sure that they're not undercooked for when the business end of the season comes around?
It's tough, and he's learning on the job as well, isn't he, Michael Carrick? He's not been here before, not been involved in the playoffs, has he? He's a Premier League player, so it's all new to him, and he's just got to go, with gut feelings, I guess, on who to rest and rotate at the right times. But I think it's understandable that their results have been affected given the comfort of their situation, and I don't think they should beat themselves up about it, Borough, but that lack of sharpness as a strong starting 11, I think, is probably a negative heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, beaten at Luton last week with a much changed side. Losing at the moment here, but a chance to get back on level terms now. Free kick, 3 outside the penalty area. Barlasser swinging it in. Good defensive header from a Dothin. And then Wiles gets it further clear. Play back by Smith. Down for McNair. Take it down towards the corner flag and then check back away from a Dothin. Middlesbrough with plenty of bodies back. Barlasser can bring it forward. Let's fly! And misses by some distance. Out of play. Rotheram well past the hour mark with its 1-0 lead intact.
Yeah, another warm round of applause for Dan Barlasser, who they love here for his time at Rotheram. This time it's applauding that wayward effort. Never looked like beating Johansson, did it? And they've just looked to milk these kind of situations, the Millers. Take their time. It's about game management now. But I think what's happened is a little bit dangerous. They've certainly backed off, and they've allowed Borough to come at them. It shouldn't really be happening, should it, with the man advantage? So, yeah, they're dicing with it. A touch here, I think.
Lenihan with possession for Middlesbrough. Back he goes to McNair. And down the right-hand side for Tommy Smith again. He's combining with Isaiah Jones. McNair has it once more, and we'll just turn and go back for Zach Steffen. Rotherham 1, Middlesbrough 0. Just in terms of the stats, even in this second half, possession is 25-75 in Middlesbrough's favour, and they've only got 10 men.
Yeah, and if I'm Matty Taylor, I'm looking to change that if I can. They can't score if we have the ball. That would be my message. And when you've got that numerical advantage, you've got to use it. You've got that spare man. And it will give the defensive guys a breather. I think that Bramall and Harding in particular have been overworked at full-back. It should almost be a cruise, but it's anything but for Rotheram at the moment. It's all Middlesbrough.
Well, certainly show no signs of being able to add to the lead given to them by the only shot on target they've had all afternoon. Middlesbrough have only had one as well. That officially has actually gone down as a block shot because Richard Wood cleared it off the line. So their line showing as no shots on target, although but for Wood coming back and clearing right underneath the bar, they would have scored through McGree early on. But that's the best chance that they've had. Smith's got possession, worked forward towards Isaiah Jones. Now Chuba Akpom, who we've seen very little of. I haven't really mentioned the 27-year-old too much, but such a potent presence. Wood's given him a little shove. He's gone to ground. Middlesbrough win it back. Akpom still sitting there, pleading with the referee. Meanwhile, play has gone on and Borough have won it back again. Smith down for Barlassa. 25 to go. 1-0 to Rotheram against the 10 men from Middlesbrough. 10 men dominating possession. Paddy McNair's got it at the moment. McNair for Smith, and he'll go back inside his own half. Stefan 20 yards outside his own penalty area, just a little drop of the shoulder. Hugill bought it, and Stefan then calmly side puts the ball forward towards halfway again.
I reckon he could play centre mid, Zach Stefan.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
We mentioned in the first half all the hallmarks of a Manchester City goalkeeper, Zach Stefan, the way that he plays.
Ordinarily, if you're playing a keep ball session against the keepers, you'd be thinking, well, this would be easy. But at Manchester City, you wouldn't want to be picky in the middle, would you?
You wouldn't, although there were the odd moment yesterday where Ederson was at his languid best and very nearly got caught by Fulham as a result of that.
Yeah.
Rotherham leading Middlesbrough 1-0. It's offside against Hugill. McNair just stepped forward, executed the offside trap with ease. Hugill picks up the ball for the free kick and throws it over Stefan's head. Just to waste a few more seconds. All the old tricks are coming out. Rotherham have got to play it as a Dauphin down, injured in the midfield at the moment. Wanted play to stop so they could have a breather. It hasn't. McGree hooking inside the box. Big moment for Smith, and he's missed it. 7 yards out. It's set up beautifully for him, and he put his right foot underneath it and fired one towards goal, and it went just over the bar.
Huge sigh of relief all around the New York Stadium. That was a big chance for Tommy Smith, and he sliced it at the far post. They're not as easy as they look. When they bounce up, they're coming across your body. It's easy to do that, and he gets underneath it, and they escape Rotheram. But not for the first time in the second half. Middlesbrough get in behind a full-back and deliver a ball into the 18-yard box. It's happening too often. It's happening more often now that they've got 10 men than it did in the entirety of the first.
So what do Rotherham need to do? You're not missing anything, incidentally, because the Dauphin is down receiving treatment inside the D, and that might force their hand to a certain extent anyway. But what do they need to do to stop that happening? Do they need... It's like counterintuitive against 10 men, but do they need to go 5 at the back to try and stop it happening, or is that much too negative a step when you've got a numerical advantage?
It wouldn't be the way I'd go about it.
Just tell them to do the job better.
Yeah, I think so. I think be a bit more proactive higher up the pitch, like they were in the first half. And I get the fact that if you go and press and you commit bodies, it might leave you short, but it wouldn't half affect the quality of the service into Akpom and the wide players if they were to do a little bit more on halfway or even inside the Borough's half. At the moment, they're just dropping onto the edge of their box and letting Borough come at them. And because they've got good movement, they're creating these overloads unbelievably around the fullbacks and causing a lot of problems. I just think that they need more of the ball, Rotheram. And to get it, they need to be more aggressive, more assertive, like they were in that first half.
Well, Hakeem Adolphin has received his treatment. He's going to be able to continue. The benches, incidentally, those left on the bench, for Rotherham, Kelly, Hjelde, Kioso, Keena and Hemfrey. for Middlesbrough. Muniz, Crooks, Finch, Belongo and Roberts. Dauphin, I'm sure, not through naivety, but through an attempt to waste a little bit of time, and that's how the referee sees who's booked him. He came back on. He was just waiting. He's received treatment, come over to the near touchline as he has to do. Haven't been given permission to come back on. So they're just waiting for Johansson to take the goal kick, and he sauntered on to within 10 yards of the centre circle, and the referee said, no, you can't do that. You know you can't do that, so he's booked him for it. Yeah. They are going to make another change. Yelder's going to be on in the next break of play.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, maybe cautious move. But yeah, I think it was just naive there from Dauphin. I don't think he was trying to eat up more time. I just think he thought that he could just saunter back on when he wanted, but you can't. And actually, by the letter of the law, it is a yellow card, as sort of pointless as it seems.
Keith Stroud, the referee, with he's not the tallest. The shorts are a little bit too long for him. Come down almost to his knees. Bermuda style. He's got his shirt tucked in with the Simon Cowell high waistline. He does look like an extra from Kes as a schoolmaster. He's refereed the game for a while. I shouldn't be rude.
They are long shorts, aren't they? They go up very high.
They're proper long shorts.
Very long shorts. He feels like he's been around a long time as well, Keith Stroud.
Oh, he's a good ref. He's a good ref. I think he's got all the big decisions correct today.
Yeah, well, Leo Yelder, who's about to come on, is a centre half. So it could be a back five.
So he's the first man on. Dauphin isn't going to be able to continue. So Kjelder for Dauphin. Kjelder, the son of Jean-Marc Kjelder, the former Nottingham Forest player, Norwegian, who's on loan from Leeds. Dauphin leaves the field and he turns and applauds all four sides of the ground. He's done his work today. He's given them the platform. All they got to do is protect it.
He's had a good game, Dauphin. It's that sort of advanced breaker up of play. I think he did it brilliantly, and he scored a cracking strike.
Now the other change is going to be Georgie Kelly, wearing 12, the Northern Ireland-born striker who came on as a half-time substitute on Thursday and sees so much of his match time off the bench. Kelly's going to come on to replace Rathbone. He's only scored one goal in his last 16 games, Kelly. He was prolific in Ireland, where his goal tally was in the 80s, but he's over the course of his career, not over the course of the season. But Kelly comes on. They're going to go two up top now. Kelly maybe will play just off Hugill. But those are the two changes that Rotheram have made. So 4 in total. We've got 19 minutes to go.
Yes, it's 3-5-2. It's so it's a mixture of both. They've gone with one extra striker and of course the extra centre half. Now the benefits of that now are that they can go longer, and they've got two targets. They've got twin targets to hit and to get them up the pitch, because that's been a real problem for them since half-time, really, or since they scored that opening goal just after half-time. They've been pinned into their own half. So I do understand the logic of those changes.
So it's Bramall and Harding at wing-backs or full-backs, because it is often a 5. 3 centre-halves, Humphreys on the right, Wood in the middle, held on the left. And then they got Lindsay as the anchoring midfield with Wiles and Fosu. And then a top two are Kelly and Hugill. Well, that's how they're lining up now. 18 minutes to go. You're listening to Rotheram against Middlesbrough in the EFL. It's live on Talksport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please, drink responsibly. Middlesbrough in possession. They don't want to go into the playoffs on the back of potentially 3 straight defeats. I mean, haven't lost this one yet, and there's no suggestion that there's a formality they would lose at home to Coventry, but the Sky Blues have got more to play for when they meet on Sunday. Here's Kelly trying to get on the end of the Hugill flick. He's been brought down around the edge of the area from Lenihan, and the referee says no, he hasn't. That was a collision, and play is allowed to continue.
Wow.
And if he deems that a free kick, that could be a red card as well.
And has he deemed it not a free kick because he's already given one already? That is my view there. That was a clumsy challenge. He is the last man. Hugo was away. I think that's a red, and I think that's a foul. And Matty Taylor is on the pitch. He is fuming.
Well, Wayne Carlisle is Matty Taylor's right-hand man. He's telling his players just to calm down. Matty Taylor, we talked about earlier, he's hardly a study of emotion, but he's just having a word with Nigel Lugg, the assistant referee, right in front of us, to ask for the vindication, really, for the non-decision around the edge of the penalty area. Well, the decision was made that it wasn't a foul, but it looked like a foul to most. And I think Lenihan will probably feel he got away with one.
Undoubtedly, he did get away with one. Okay, was it deliberate? I don't know. We can't tell, but it was a clumsy challenge, and I feel it was a definite foul. And if it's a foul, it's a red. And I believe that Keith Stroud has backed away from making that decision because he's already sent one player off for a professional foul. And that should not come into play, Keith. It shouldn't.
Well, he's 2 yards outside the penalty area. He was the last man. It was a clever flick, a good interplay between Hugill and Kelly. The first time we've seen those two working really effectively in tandem since Kelly came on. And just Lenihan got done. And it was a collision, and if there was intent, and it looked as though there was, then he's clearly, it is a professional foul. He has denied an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. There's no way Lenihan can come back, and the striker is clean through on goal.
It's one of those, it was well disguised in terms of an accidental collision between two players, but I do think that the defender is likely to have known what he was doing. I think he could certainly have avoided Hugill, and he didn't. And for that reason, he is very, very lucky.
Well, it's a massive moment. We talked about the one in the first half being a big moment. That could be an even bigger moment. Jones has kept that in, and then he's pushed inside the penalty area. Referee says no. Goal kick.
Wow, that could have been a penalty. Jones can't believe it.
Has he just evened that up?
I think he might have done. Wouldn't be the first time an official has done that. Look. It looked like he was tripped inside the box. I thought, very clear penalty. and the Rotheram fans are still battering the referee.
Well, the chorus from the Middlesbrough fans came, "You're not fit to referee," when the penalty wasn't given at the other, when the red card wasn't given at the other end, and then the Rotheram fans joined in. You know you've had a bad 5-minute spell. When they're all going for you.
Yeah, I think we gave him the curse, didn't we? We sort of talked him up as an experienced official. We got all the big calls right. Well,
in fairness, we haven't seen replays. He's much closer.
Yeah.
And I would be more than happy to stand corrected, but looking at it in real time once, it looked like a red card and it looked like a penalty. But I'm no referee. Here's McNair. He'll play it forward through the midfield. Well, after 3 minutes of intense excitement, it is still Rotheram 1, 10-man Middlesbrough 0. Well, it could have been Rotheram 1, 9-man Middlesbrough 1. Bottom line is, as things stand right now, Rotheram will be safe. The ball is played out to the Middlesbrough left. You feel that there are still some big moments left in this game. Boller. Back for Akpom. Akpom trying to get Jones in, but it's overhit, and Johansson sprinted off his line and swept up very well. Threw himself at the ball and then got his body between it and Jones to protect it. And he'll waste as many seconds as he thinks he can get away with before punting it back upfield. 13 to go, but 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time to be added. So still a thick end of 20 minutes for Rotheram to survive here.
Yeah, and the message I'll pass on to any fans of Huddersfield or Reading is that Borough want this. They're going for it. There's no laying down here. They're showing a good attitude. They've even gone with 2 up front. Isaiah Jones has now joined Chuba Akpom in attack. It's 4-3-2. So and Jones, I've been watching him. He's making run after run after run. They don't find him very often, but it only takes one good run and one good pass, and he's away.
Matt Crooks is going to be coming on in a moment as well. Another former Rotheram player. Smith with a low ball inside the penalty area, and a miscue from Wood just drops delightfully into the hands of his goalkeeper. There's no way that could be deemed to be a deliberate back pass. He was trying to clear it, but it's just bobbled off the top of his foot, taking all the sting out of it, and gone perfectly back for his goalkeeper. 12 to go. Rotheram 1, Middlesbrough 0. Jones, not necessarily a guaranteed starter for the first leg of the playoff semi-final, and he's playing like he feels he has a real point to prove here. He's certainly been a study of effort. And he's got it again now. Takes it down towards the right-hand touchline. Was a late challenge coming in on him from Bramall, and that'll be a yellow card.
Yeah, no complaints from Bramall there. He's cleaned him out on the touchline. Yeah, Jones has been good. I mean, he came to prominence last season as a rampaging right-back, or a rampaging right-back, but I don't think Carrick sees him like that. I think he thinks he's a winger that can even do a job up front. So, yeah, it's funny how different coaches see different things.
Well, the change that Middlesbrough make will be the withdrawal of McGree, and Matt Crooks is on to replace him, and he's another that gets a really good ovation from the Rotheram supporters, some standing to applaud him. He played nearly 100 games for the Millers, went down in his first season, up in his second, down in his third, but he made a great contribution to life in his 3 seasons here. He's hardly started in recent times. He's making a good run forward here. Akpom can't find him. Didn't try and find him in the end. He arrowed one in towards goal. It's taken a deflection off the boot of one of the Rotheram defenders on its way over the top left-hand corner, and it's another Middlesbrough corner.
Well, it was a good run, wasn't it, from Akpom, coming from deep, drifted past a couple of bodies, tried his luck from 25 yards, just took a little nick. It's behind for a corner, but you can't fault the attitude of the Middlesbrough players. They've not given up on this at all.
Middlesbrough's 8th corner, sent high by Mowat towards the far post. McNair was waiting for it, but it's just bobbled off the top of his head. He had a Rotheram player either side of him, and he couldn't get a clean jump towards it. Goes out of play for a goal kick. And that clock is ticked up to 80 minutes now. Rotheram 1, Middlesbrough 0. It remains. Here's Adrian Clark.
Yeah, not a lot more the managers can do now. They've played their hands, they've tweaked things. I think the Middlesbrough have just made another adaptation. Jones has gone, basically it's 4-2-3 now. Jones right wing, Crook, or inside right wing, Crooks inside left up front, with Akpom down the middle. And they're going for it. And Rotheram are kind of letting them. They've retreated too far, in my opinion, and allowed the visitors to get up ahead of steam in this second half, making heavy weather of it, really, the Millers.
Nerves are prevalent, there's no doubt about that. Don't forget, following our coverage today, Dan Windle brings you all of the fallout from the weekend's football on the EFL show, with brilliant Sean Derry alongside him as his studio guest. That's at the conclusion of this game at 3 o'clock. Akpom back for Tommy Smith. Barlasser, foul by Kelly. And a free kick to Middlesbrough, 10 yards outside the penalty area, level with the right-hand side of the box.
Well, that was daft. That wasn't clever from Georgie Kelly. No need to make a challenge, and Mowat, we know, has got a great delivery. Absolutely superb from these kind of situations. Got a wand of a left foot, and they've sent the big guys forward. And Crooks is massive, isn't he? He's really dangerous in these kind of positions. Paddy McNair has an excellent goal scoring record too.
It's taken short to Mowat by Smith. He then gets it back on the edge of the penalty area, rides the challenge from Harding, played out to the left hand side of the box. Jones back for Mowat, clipped in, Akpom beaten in the air by Johansson, and that's another episode of danger successfully navigated by Rotheram.
I don't know what they were playing out there. Mowat just clipped the ball in. They tried to play the short one, and he ends up having to skip past a couple of tackles. He's going sideways across the pitch, going nowhere. That was a waste for Middlesbrough. Not sure Michael Carrick would have been happy with that.
Now we've got more live football coming your way here on Talksport 2 later. Arsenal women against Wolfsburg in the Women's Champions League semi-final second leg. Here on Talksport 2, 5:45. It's beautifully poised, 2-2 from the first leg. It's a sellout crowd at the Emirates. 60,000 there tonight. Joe Shannon, commentator amongst them with Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Then over on Talksport, Leicester-Everton, 18th against 19th. Winners outside the bottom three with less than a month of the season to go. Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend talking through the action from the East Midlands tonight. Leicester against Everton.
Two great games. Two brilliant games. Yeah. I'll get back for them. But yeah, I'd like to have been at Emirates tonight. I think it'd be a special occasion, especially if Arsenal women can win. Their 4 best players are out at the moment, of course. Miedemar, Kim Little, Leah Williamson. It's some story if they can make the final.
That'll be a great achievement, and we'll find out together on Talksport 2. 5:45 tonight. Then tomorrow, it's Arsenal-Chelsea in the Premier League. Arsenal hoping to return to the top of the table. If they do, Manchester City can usurp them Wednesday when they're at home to West Ham. City now needing a maximum of 15 points from here to win the title. Haaland a goal short of the all-time Premier League record in a single season. We'll hope for number 35 and beyond. And we've got those games for you on Talksport, both 8 o'clock kickoffs, Tuesday, tomorrow and Wednesday. And here and now, it's Rotheram 1, Middlesbrough 0, 6 to go. Borough down to 10 men, still with the majority of possession. Lindsay in there battling, this time wins the free kick. The latest skirmish with Jones awarded in his favour. And then he acts as the conductor of the musical choir of the Rotheram supporters in the Ben Bennett family stand on the far touchline, just asking for a little bit more volume and noise for the minutes that remain. They're getting closer, but they're not there yet.
They're not there yet, no. But when you consider that a draw is almost certain to be enough, and you know they've put themselves into a great position, it hasn't been convincing. The second half has been poor, I would say, from a Rotheram point of view, but they will not care one bit about the performance. It's all about the result today, and thanks to Doffin's excellent strike, they're within the whisker, aren't they?
He's just been announced as the sponsors man of the match, incidentally. 5 to go. Jones back inside his own half for McNair. McNair will venture over the halfway line here for Middlesbrough. Played in behind Crooks. Crooks to Akpom. Akpom trying to take it on. He was fouled by Lindsay. Free kick to Middlesbrough. Now Mowat resisted the temptation to have a crack from the last one. He might not resist the temptation the second time. This is just about in position A for him. It's 8 yards outside the box, and the angle favours the left-footed shot.
I'd shoot from here. Yeah, definitely. Left-footed. It's within range. You've got to attack it. You've got to put your laces through it. I think, that said, I think he fancies it. I think Barlas is over it. This would be a little clip, but there's not a lot of angle to play with. He might go wide to Jones.
Well, they're lining up a 2-man wall.
Yeah, they think he's going to cross this, don't they?
Yeah. Well, it's a massive gamble that he's going to cross it. Barlas is standing over it. I mean, the Rotheram players know more than any other opposing team his strengths and weaknesses. There's only one in the wall. It's flicked in by Barlas. Coming around the back, it was a vital defensive touch by Hugill. It's out of play for another corner.
That's outstanding from the centre forward. It's another advantage, isn't it, of playing a big target man centre forward. They can be so useful in those defensive situations. That was magnificent, but it is another corner for them to try and handle here, Rotheram. It's all Middlesbrough, and it has been for the bulk of this second half, even though they've got one man less.
3 to go, plus stoppage time. Corner taken short. Too short, as it turns out, because the return ball never found its way back through for Barlasa. And Rotheram can bring it away with Bramall. And Bramall will take it down towards the touchline and then poke it further down towards the touchline and get himself involved in a leg race with Jones, and he won that and then wins a throw. That's great play by Cohen Bramall with the edge of his own penalty area to midway inside the opposition half on the touchline. Retained possession in the form of a throw.
Yeah, good game management there. He saw the situation. He knew he had the pace. He just knocked it out of his feet. And he's won his team a throw inside Middlesbrough's half. That was very, very smart.
Throw is taken by Bramall. Chested down towards the corner flag. Fosu just waiting for Smith to commit himself, make a challenge, put it out of play for another throw. We're into the 89th minute here on Talksport 2, where it's still Rotheram 1, 10-man Middlesbrough 0. Rotheram just glad for some respite, having the ball inside Borough territory. Thrown inside the penalty area and headed away. Back he goes from Lindsay. Chested down by Kelly on the edge of the penalty area. Couldn't take it on and get himself into a shooting position. Lindsay won a 50-50, which Balassa actually let him win, knowing that any contact from Lindsay was inevitably going to see the ball go over the line and have to play for a goal kick.
I don't know how he's not got sent off today. I mean, that wasn't a foul, but he's just thrown himself into so many challenges.
Two-footed over the top of the ball on that one, but the fact there wasn't an opponent close enough saw him get away with it.
I think Stroud's definitely got his eye on him, but time is on his side because we're ticking away towards the last minute here.
Fosu getting it towards the right-hand side of the penalty area for Wiles. Kelly's in the middle. Hugill's there as well if Fosu can deliver. Played it out towards the right-hand touchline. Matt Crooks read it and wins it back for Middlesbrough. Played back by him towards Mowat. Mowat to Balassa coming out of the penalty area. Crooks retaining possession. Just had his ankles clipped. Lindsay stayed down hurt. So Rotheram temporarily down to 10 as well. McNair has possession for Middlesbrough. He's 20 yards inside the Rotheram half. Now, Balassa, the left-hand side of the box. Low ball. Oh, Lindsay sliced it. It's a sensational save to prevent an own goal by Johansson. That is a magnificent stop. Lindsay coming back to defend. Knew that he had to try and deal with the cross. Sliced at it. And it was going to nestle in the bottom right-hand corner. Looping there. Johansson threw himself to his left and tips it round the post for a corner.
Superb goalkeeping. That is why they do those drills. One post to the next post to make those saves. Quick feet to scamper across his goal line. And he just poured it away because that would have been an own goal. It was heading into the bottom corner from Lindsay. But it's not done yet. They've got to defend this corner.
And then 4 minutes of stoppage time. We're in those 4 now. In comes the corner from Mowat. Borough heads going up for it. Headed clear by Humphreys. Outside the penalty area. Back in from Balassa. Kjelda gets it away. And then Fosu will help it further clear. Perhaps had a little bit more time to bring the ball under control. Every Rotheram fan seemingly getting to their feet and waving the Millers back line out here. Jones, as he come back from an offside position, referee says no, but he's given the free kick against Jones for shoving Bramall to the ground. Free kick to Rotheram, just outside their own penalty area. By the time they've taken it, will be in the second of the 4 minutes of added time. 1-0 to Rotheram, and that's enough for them to stay up.
It is, and by the skin of their teeth, because this second half has been agony, really, for the fans around us, the home supporters. I think that they are determined to try and enjoy this moment. On their feet around us, we are staying up. And it looks like they are. They've ground it out.
Well, even if they were to concede from here, they'd still be all but up. It was a defeat that massively compounded the relegation issues. Sure, they're going to be able to avoid that, but they want to get the job done here and now. They've got 2.5 minutes to survive. Ball is over on the Middlesbrough left, inside their own half, with Crooks. Lay back for Stefan. Mowat. Now to McNair. McNair 10 yards inside his own half. He knocks it square. Chance for Middlesbrough to bring it forward with Lenihan, who we both feel is fortunate to still be on the pitch. And Middlesbrough should have been reduced to 9, although we did think that Borough should have had a penalty at the other end not long after that. Here's Chuba Akpom. Akpom poking it to his left-hand side. It's Crooks. Crooks outside the penalty area. Back from Balassa. Now Tommy Smith looking for the right ball. Wins the corner off the retreating Hugill. Some of the Rotheram fans to our right can't bear to look. Corner taken short, but I think the ball was stationary, so they're going to have to retake it. Just adding to the drama. 90 seconds to go. McNair forward. Crooks inside the penalty area. To 5 Middlesbrough players inside the box. Every man jack back for Rotheram. Swung in very deep towards the far post. Headed away by Harding. Back in from Barlasa, Crooks News in an offside position, and then as Johansson catches the ball, Akpom stands his ground, and they fall into each other and both go to ground like they've been knocked out.
Yeah, and well, thankfully they're both on their feet fairly quickly. Akpom jumped up. I think there's complaints from Johansson, but in a few seconds' time, I don't think it'll be too fussed, Johansson. It does feel as if Rotheram have done enough here. Not convincing against the 10 men of Borough, but they've shown good collective fight and organisation and character, and they have been resilient. And over the course of the campaign, I also feel they're worthy of preserving the championship status.
20 seconds to go. Middlesbrough with it inside their own half. Barlasa turning into the midfield. Hasn't got an obvious pass to play, so has to turn back the other way away from Wiles. Now Middlesbrough work it down towards the right-hand side of Smith's head. Goes out of play for a Rotheram throw, and that should just about be that. The 4 minutes are up. It is only a minimum of 4 minutes, of course. But those choruses of "We Are Staying Up" now being delivered with real conviction. It's full time at the New York Stadium. Start spreading the news. They've stayed up today. Rotherham do what they've been unable to do in each of their last 3 championship campaigns. They have beaten the drop. Credit to Matty Taylor, Wayne Carlisle and all of their staff. Rotherham United, who finished in the bottom 3 in each of their last 3 championship campaigns, won't be doing that this time around. It's not a result that will have any adverse effect on Middlesbrough, but it's a second straight defeat for them. They gave it everything, and Reading and Huddersfield can have no complaints about Borough application. But many of the Rotherham players have slumped to the floor in exhaustion. What an achievement that is. Rotherham United preserve their championship status.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Matty Taylor, Rotherham players, the Rotherham supporters. Great scenes here in Yorkshire, really are. Everybody together, and it was really noticeable there. Matty Taylor went straight to the keeper, Victor Johansson. I think he knows the role that he has played over the course of this campaign. He's been outstanding between the sticks for this football club. And they're a team, aren't they? They're not full of standout individuals, Rotherham United, but because they are a collective, because they're all on the same page, because they play like they're a family, they've got enough points on the board to stay in the second tier of English football. And for a club this small, and they are still a relatively small club, I think that's a great achievement.
Only their second win in 10 games, and it was only secured by a magnificent save from Victor Johansson, preventing a Jamie Lindsay own goal as the game went into stoppage time. A game of controversy, 1 red card, could have been another, probably should have been a penalty as well. Middlesbrough will hope that if they didn't have luck with that spot kick decision, they're saving that up for when it really matters. But Rotherham have got the job done. So it's Wigan down, Blackpool down, and now we know it will be Huddersfield or Reading who join them, because Rotherham are safe on Talksport 2.